What have you two moves here? Since this month I've been, of course, doing my reviews for past horror movies because it's of course October, and today is obviously Halloween, so happy Halloween, people. So I'd say my review for pretty much one of my favorite Halloween-based movies that is not Mike Myers related. Now, there's been lots of really cool horror movies that takes place in the month of, on the actual day of Halloween. Obviously, the Halloween movies, is it? But there's another horror film that is really intriguing to watch around the Halloween time, and that is the 2007 horror anthology film, simply titled, well, Trick or Treat. Now, Trick or Treat is a horror anthology film that was actually directed by Mike Daughtry, who also will later give us that movie Krampus. He also directed. He even directed Godzilla King of the Monsters, which could have been a little better to be honest. Yeah, but anyway, now this film of course premiered all the way back in 2007, starring the likes of Anna Paquin, Brian Cox, Leslie Bibb, Dylan Baker, and pretty much just like stories of demonstrate that like pretty much some traditions best not forgotten. As a resident of this small town, face real ghosts and goblins on Halloween night, and where tales of terrors pretty much reveal the consequences of extinguishing a jack o' lantern before midnight, and Scrumpy Hermit's encounter with a sinister trick or treater here. And some of the real stories stories includes Principal, Hollywood School Bus Massacre. You also got a surprise party. Sam. I mean, you got actor Quinn Lord who plays the role of Sam, and is probably one of the most creepiest kids you'll see on screen. You also you even got Brett Kelly, who you might remember as Sherman Merman from Bad Santa. So he pretty much goes from Christmas to Halloween, a very different turnaround. Anyway, you also got, like I said, you got Leslie Bibb was also in this. Brian Cox, Dylan, Baker, and it's such a creepy one. It is really terrifying. It's not as bloody as you expect, but it has some really cool scares here. It definitely feels a little bit like it actually reminds me more of Halloween Season of the Witch in a way than the actual Halloween films. This is actually why I think Halloween Season of the Witch should have been, to be honest. But anyway, there's lots of really cool tricks in this movie and lots of interesting treats. It is it is a little cheesy at times yet, but man, the story in Trick or Treat is real. Like lots of these stories are intriguing to watch. It's it's pretty much like I said, film anthology style, and it's definitely one of my favorite anthology movie watch to watch. It's very clever. It's really intriguing. Uh, it's definitely pretty much like one of the horror classics of 2000s of the late 2000s. With great performances by the cast. I mean, this movie was of course very cheap to make. It only its budget was 12 million when they first made it, and I'm not sure what the box office total was. Yeah, I don't think this actually got released in theirs actually, but so it's definitely a really decent film. Worth checking out. With great performances here. Like some of the most creepiest stuff I want to see. Like this Sam character is so terrifying. Uh, I mean, Sam totally reminds me of like a younger version of Mike Myers in a weird way. So yeah, at times it definitely feels like a Mike Myers origin story at times, but it's definitely a really intriguing one. It's entertaining. Cool, horror and all the aspects here. I mean, it's definitely worth checking out around the Halloween time. I mean, if you haven't seen it, it is on HBO Max. Give it a go. I'm still hoping we'll get a sequel. Like, Mike and Daughtry have actually been teasing sequel for years. Never really came to fruition. But man, I'll totally love to see another Trick or Treat. It's definitely a really intriguing movie worth checking out. So if you haven't seen it, if you want to watch a really intriguing horror film on Halloween that's not Michael Myers related, Trick or Treat is one of them. Anyway, Let me leave you guys. Have you ever seen the 2007 horror film Trick or Treat? If so, what saw it? Were you a fan of it? Were you not a fan of it? Favorite scenes, favorite moments? Which of the stories were you a fan of? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This is Timmy sign out.